the thing with me and Faz, I've always said it. He hated me, and I hated him because he hated me because he thought I was shit. He hated me because he thought I was shit at rugby. I don't know how you can put that on a man. I was 34. I was absolutely ball bagged by the end of it.
That is exactly what it is. You just weren't good enough in his mind to be in his team.
He used to fling the ball in training straight off my head. I was like, what is going on here? Hey, you laugh though. Look at us now. Look at Para. Petrus Duplessis coaching the Aussie scrum. Who would have thought, eh?
Who would have thought it? Fair play to him. Fair play to him.
We should say this is not an advert. This is not an advert. It's not a commercial. This is serious life. It's the weed whacker. For the nose, for the ears, for the... where else would that fit? There you go, big fella. The weed whacker. Manscaped. Chris, how are you?
Hey, Big Jim.
Can you hear that?
What is it?
The weed
Need some
whacker.
batteries, does it?
The weed whacker. You won't need that, Chris. I used to shower next to you most days. You don't need that. You might do now, but that's from Manscaped, mate. It's a multi-purpose weed whacker. Welcome to the media world, Chris. Hey, I was actually, before we come on to that, I was actually reading some of your comments around James Lowe online. We can come on to that in a bit. Chris, you're doing more of the media stuff, mate. My mate texted me. He was watching you on Channel 4 and said, is Chris Ashton on diazepams? I said, what do you mean?
What does he mean?
I don't know. I don't know why it mean that. Maybe because you were talking in a posh accent. It maybe sounded like you're on sleeping tablets.
TV voice, mate. There's nothing wrong with that. You've got one of them as well, mate. You're from Cov, mate.
Am I doing my TV voice now?
You're from Cov. You played for Scotland, and you were, as I've told you, top 3 worst players I've ever come across. Mate, you're doing all right. You're doing all right.
I can't believe it, mate. Absolutely cultured. Chris, let's get into it, mate. Loads happened. Let's talk about the breaking news today, but this will go out later in the week, around your good mucker, Steve Diamond. What's happened at Sale? Since you've gone, mate.
It's like you've planned this, mate. Did you know what was happening?
I knew what was happening, mate. You know what? I actually heard a rumour a few months ago that Steve Diamond would be leaving the building of the Sale Sharks, and I didn't believe it. I was like, no chance. So I've heard whispers in the media world that we're in, and you'll be in this soon, it looks like. Well, I watched you actually on the Friday. You looked like you could get another couple of years down in the Championship, but we'll come on to that. I heard rumours about Steve Diamond. Come on, give us something. Did you see it come in? Like, what do
you mean? Do you think I left for nothing?
Well, why did you leave then? Hit us with that first. Come on.
Well, he said Steve's words were, I left because of the style of play.
Why did you
I'll
leave
it at that, mate.
Come on. Your teeth are looking great, by the way, Chris. But why? Can you tell us why you left or not? This is going to go out to millions, mate. So this could be your story. We know what happened with your last story. You sold 5 of them and it went out for 50p a time. So this...
Still got paid, mate. Still got paid. You've not had one of them, have you? It's not my place to say, mate, is it? I don't know what's gone on. I just know why I left and why I decided to move on.
So it wasn't to do with the game plan then? You just didn't see eye to eye, and then Quinns came in, back to London. Is that basically?
No, I actually had no club. That is a genuine. I left Sale without a club, which again, is that not strange?
It's a Chris Ashton thing to do.
Is it though? It's not. I went to Toulon from Saracens because it was a life-changing opportunity. That's why people go. And I came back because I'm from the north. I wanted to settle in the north and play for Sale. Is it really that? Is it really a Chris Ashton thing to do? Just leave a club like that?
No, it's not. No, it's not. You're not going to give us anything.
But I mean, I don't know what's gone on. Steve's left. I don't know. I'm not sure. Personal reasons. Who knows what they might be, Big Jim?
Well, he's got a big house anyway. I've seen it somewhere on.
Oh, he's got a big house.
Coach's cribs. Let's talk a little bit because, like, funny enough about them comments that were made when you left Sale about the style of play, loads of kicking, it's not that interesting to watch because I'm been a forward and you're a back who likes to run with the ball. But I mean, when you're watching that, are you thinking this is shit? Or you actually understand it? I mean, we understand why people are kicking, right? Because the defense is so much better. But are you watching it thinking, this is crap?
The defenses are so much better, but I just, especially like I've played on the weekend there against Gloucester away. Mate, you turn up, right? It's freezing. It's wet. The pitch is wrecked. You're running uphill. What are your other options? I don't want the ball. Like, what am I going to be able to do with it? Everyone's the same speed, and there's a good chance you're going to drop it. I'm like, I don't want it. Kick it. Put the pressure back on them. Let them play with it. I do get this like speeding up of the ruck. That is very frustrating. And the TMO situation dragged the game on very long. But the weather and the pitches and all this combination as well, like backs don't really want the ball because there's nothing. You get hit by a good tackle, you lose the ball, you turn over. There's nothing to really be gained by keeping hold of the ball. And that's not a straightforward thing to change. But I was happy to see Luke Pearce doing the 5-second countdown. I can't say I wasn't happy about that. I was.
I was as well, to be honest with you. And they seem to have brought it in this weekend. So you say you don't know what they could change. Is there anything that you think actually the game's got to evolve? Right, we saw Fiji, Georgia, very different game, I suppose, to the England France or whatever games we've seen where there was a lot of kicking, England Wales. Is there anything else that you think you'd bring in?
Yeah, it's such a shame what happened with Fiji. We want to see them play. We love to see them play because they are so out the box. Like every team has, to a point, struggled against Georgia, but Fiji just turn up and blow them away because of the type of players that they have, and what they have to offer is so different. That's why we wanted to see them play in this tournament. So it's hard to compare anything against them just because they are so good and so different. England stuff, I mean, it is harsh, man, the stick that they're getting because they win. I think Eddie always seems ahead of the curve with what he says, what he sees and says, and he knows how the game's going and how you win test matches. And you don't keep hold of the ball. Simple as that. It is obvious that their 3-4 phases get rid of it. But like, I don't know if you're a fan, you want to see your team win. It doesn't matter how. Look at Jose Mourinho, right? The way he played, he never won 3-0, 4-0. It's always 1-0, 2-0, but he gets you a premiership. He gets you a win. So people want him. People want him to be a manager. It's the same situation. People want England to win, but then now they're winning. People complain about it. So everyone would like to see more tries scored and a bit of more attacking, nice rugby to watch. But I think if they'd have been beaten by France on the weekend, it might be a bit of a different story. But they find a way to win. So again, it is irrelevant and it moves on.
Do you regret quitting England when you're watching this now? Because arguably it would have suited the way that you play. And I know that they've got some quality back three, but you threw the towel in for family reasons. Is that the reason? Marla did the same, but he's come back. Do you regret it? Mate, you'd have some pictures on the back of that wall and some wallpaper and some different...
It's not my house, mate. It's his sink's house, mate. It shakes when... You might see the thing you shake when a bus comes past, mate. Do I regret it? And obviously, when I see them play, I'm like, I'd love to be there. But there is so much involved, mate, now. It's not like when you're in your day, mate, when you were playing, just try and pretend to bring down the maul and then
out midweek, to the next and then out midweek, and then Saturday, win, lose or draw.
Wow, it's gone. It's like the training is harder than games, without doubt. Harder than games.
And enjoyable or not?
And it's enjoyable because they've got a good group of lads who've been there for a bit of time. They all know each other. But it's a big commitment to be away from your family for a long time. You don't see them because they're so committed to doing what they're doing. And as soon as the game was over, it was like, bang, Sunday, we are now planning for the week after. You got like an hour to see because there was family was up in the north and stuff. It was just, Melissa was due and it's just it's so professional, mate. It's such a big commitment. I was like, I can't. I had a couple of injuries. I was like, I can't. There's no way I'll be able to get through it. But yeah, I miss it, man. I miss it. I do miss You just miss those kind of games and that environment of being around the best players all the time and just learning. You're constantly learning and seeing what's at the front. I mean, it's like with someone with Owen Farrell. You and him obviously hate each other. You never saw eye to eye.
Does he hate me? Does he hate me or not? Does he hate me or not? He probably does now. Now I've judged him in the media. I just said it how it was, mate. The thing with me and Faz, I've always said it. He hated me, and I hated him because he hated me because he thought I was shit. He hated me because he thought I was shit at rugby. I don't know how you can put that on a man. I was 34. I was absolutely ball bagged by the end of it.
That's exactly what it is. You just weren't good enough in his mind to be in his team.
He used to fling the ball in training straight off my head. I was like, what is going on here? Hey, you laugh though. Look at us now. Look at Para. Petrus Duplessis coaching the Aussie scrum. Who would have thought, eh?
Who would have thought it? Fair play to him. Fair play to him.
No. Ashley, you're a good judge of character.
Am I?
Well, I don't know. You have some good things to say about me when we play together. But also a good judge of players as well. But, mate, recently you've made a bad judgment on, I'd say he's a mate. I've spoken to him a few times. James Lowe, recently capped by Ireland. And then, I don't know, you've pulled your comments back somehow. I don't know how you can do that in this modern day. But what did you say about James Lowe? Why did you say it? And do you regret saying it?
Well, I was at the game, right? And so I watched it live. So you see things that you wouldn't see on the TV. And I happened to say for the Johnny May try that he looks a bit big and a little bit slow. And I stand by it, right? He's a top player. The things he has done for Leinster have changed some of Leinster's attack, and he's been part of championship winning teams. So obviously he is an amazing player. But I don't know. Is he doing too many?
He's naturally big. Like I've seen him.
He is naturally big.
He looks very different to any kind of. He looks like a centre. That's what he's built like.
So right, if he's a centre, my thinking is you use him like a centre. You don't get him chasing kicks. What is the point in James Lowe chasing kicks? He's not going to be able to turn, come back, go again. He's not going to be able to do what Johnny May does or Anthony Watson.
So you stand by your comments. And
I think if you watch on the try, if he had the opportunity again, he would have an opportunity to go and stop that try if he wanted to. That was all I was saying.
Good enough for Test rugby or not? You've just paused. You've just gone on.
From what I've seen, right, at that level, because his margins are so small, there's no place for a rest or just clocking off for 30 seconds, because something will happen in the game, momentum will change, and you could have solved that problem. So take that example on about with Johnny May's try. He could have solved that problem for Ireland right there and then. He could have got back and done something out of the blue. You can't always wait for a try-scoring moment. You've got to be everywhere all the time, and that just takes a bit of learning, a bit of experience, Big Jim?
Well, that's what I was going to say. You can learn them things, can't you? I've watched him play, and you see Tuisova's try at the weekend, or the try that he set up, and he barreled about 6 lads with the offload. James Lowe, I'm not saying he's got that in him, but he's very different to other wingers. And there's talk of him going on the line, so I don't know why. Maybe it was just me who said it, and he probably won't go now. But he definitely ain't going to go if Gatlin listens to you about what you've got to say about it.
Because he's so different. Why not? But you've got to use him for that. There's a reason Josh does what he does. Josh Tuisova does what he does, because he gets the ball in the situation where he can make things happen. But when you're playing in the Ireland like he was in the way they wanted to play against England or whoever, you're not really using him enough. I watched him like they were in the 22 attacking, and he's just stood on his wing. I'm like, go get the ball, man. Go play forward and just carry the ball. That's what he needs to be doing.
Absolutely. You mentioned Johnny May and that break against James Lowe. Did I read something, or did you say something, or did you text me saying that you were quicker than him on the GPS? Is that right? Am I right in saying that or not? Or is that complete bollocks?
Johnny's the fastest I've seen.
Is he the fastest in the game?
He's the fastest I've come across on GPS. Before all this GPS, it was always like, nah, I'm faster than him. Nah, he's faster than me. But no, mate, you've got facts. And he scored a try against France in Six Nations, not the one gone, the one before. And his stats after it was the highest GPS I've seen. He's quick, mate.
Yeah, we're seeing some unbelievable athletes. We spoke about Tuisova there. You played with him at Toulon, didn't you? Another guy this Semi Randrandra, how good is he? Have you played against Bristol yet? Have you played it? Have you touched him? Have you seen him?
Well, I had them both, mate, at Toulon, didn't I?
There you go.
So I played 15 because I know if I didn't play 15, I'm not going to get in this team. I've got Semi on one wing and Josh on the other. I have to play 15. So I had either way, mate. If I ever catch the ball at fullback, if it didn't come off my head, I'd just fling a pass to them. No matter how far they were, I'd just throw it to them. They are two of the biggest freak of natures I've come across on a rugby pitch, especially Semi.
Why is Semi so good then? Is it the fact that he is just a phenomenon? Like, what is it? Because I've heard he's very professional in not that that's unlike Fijians, but Fijians are normally pretty chilled. You know, they are genetically gifted in terms of speed and power.
Yeah. Well, I spoke to him about this, and he obviously had a big NRL background. So he was in Australia for a long time, from a young age, learning and being around professional rugby from a young age, where not a lot of the Fijians do. They stay on the island and just train and stuff on themselves in the villages. So for Semi to go to Oz and get used to it from a young age, training, it's now in him to be like that. And he likes training, likes weights, likes doing skills and stuff, just staying around after he's just got that NRL professional rugby league mentality. And on the pitch, man, he would do things that I'd never seen people do. He'd like, if someone gives you, you know, when they're backing off in defence, sometimes people will wait to try and drift. He would wait. I watched him do it a few times. He'd wait. If someone give him a shoulder, as soon as he gives you a shoulder, he's like, boom, you just push him over in the wrong direction and go through that space. Where you've got to be thinking a lot through your head for you to be able to see that and execute it like so fast. Whereas you, mate, you'd be like, you'd still be in that ruck, man, making a long ruck for Wiggy to kick off it.
How long was my long leg? Ridiculous.
The best. You had one job.
It's like the NFL, mate. I look at the athletes that they've produced. Unbelievable.
One job. Just make the long leg. Well, you did it well, man. But Semi can just do an awful lot of things really well.
We're talking about world-class players here, which is quite fitting when I'm brought into that mix, yourself and obviously Semi as well. But did you see the Team of the Decade release? Not one England player.
I did, yeah. I don't know. It seems like the people are still stuck back when New Zealand were obviously amazing. I think over the last 5 years, especially, a lot of the England players have done surely enough for them to get in that team. England for the past 4 years have dominated. And
why is it then? Because I get the impression, and I sit here with this ridiculous English accent, but I get that feeling as well. I get the feeling that it's almost not anti-English. We don't want to politicise things, but it does seem like there's an air of that for some reason. We spoke about the criticism of the Six Nations, even though they won it, but the way that they played the back end, the way that they played this Autumn Nations Cup, brilliant game against France, and then you look at that and you're thinking, actually, what is it?
That team, obviously, that All Blacks team, did do things that will never happen again, probably in the history of rugby. Being so successful, winning 2 World Cups like that, it probably won't happen. But it was half a decade ago. So I think a lot's moved on now, and I don't know why that is. You know, it's just the typical sometimes anti-English. I think if you watch some like Maro play, for as good as he is, sometimes they're celebrating and they're giving his teammates energy and celebrating little wins is all it is. But I think from an outside, you can read that wrong sometimes and see it as an annoyance and not as him giving his team energy.
Rock Nation, mate. How far do you think Maro's going to go? Because Maro is a top-class player, right?
Yeah.
Like, he is world-class now. We've obviously played with him. There's a lot of hype about him. There's a talk of him being Lions captain. And you see the game's changed now. Like, you can almost manipulate leaders within teams as opposed to being natural leaders. And, you know, you put players as front men. And there's talk of Maro being captain of the Lions. We're going off on a bit of a tangent here because you've mentioned him. From your dealings with him, watching him play, obviously Paul Gustard was his coach in the early days. I was his mentor, and you watch him now. Can you see him being captain of the Lions?
I was with Hask on doing the TV a few weeks ago, and Hask seemed to think he doesn't deserve to be it, or he didn't. Can you remember what he said? Have you seen this?
No, I have seen it, yeah. And there's a few people that have been in like that, because they're like, well, why is he going to be, why is Faz, Faz is captain in England, but you go back through the old school archives, Martin Johnson wasn't captain in England in 97, and whatever Jono does, mate, I do. So, I follow him. But that's why Haas was saying it, because you've got Owen Farrell, who's at 10 or 12, captain of his country, just won the Six Nations, obviously European Cups, Premierships, well respected, and everyone's jumping on Maro to be captain. What do you reckon?
I reckon for Maro's case, right, he's a forward, which is, I think, a big thing. Being
Against
on a
South
tour
Africa.
like that.
Yeah.
Exactly, he's a forward. He's intelligent. He's an out-and-out winner. He's always calm and level-headed. When do you ever see Maro on the pitch ever get flustered? Doesn't happen, does it?
He's never been counter-up by Jim Hamilton, mate. That's why.
Exactly. He's never felt the force.
He hasn't.
And he's always top 3 players on the pitch. Like he more than qualifies it for me. People are saying that whatever about him is absolute rubbish. He's got to be one of the top 2 contenders for it. I understand Owen's argument as well. Obviously, that goes without saying because of what he's done and how good of a leader he is. But yeah, I don't know. I think you need a forward. South Africa, you've got to have a forward surely leading it.
It's the weed whacker. For the nose, for the ears, for the... where else would that fit? There you go, big fella. The weed whacker. Manscaped.